Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our second episode of
Bay Village Mornings.
Bay Village Mornings. How nice is this? It's Monday morning. How are you doing this morning, Alan?
I'm pretty tired. It's been a long weekend.
Yeah, we had a busy weekend. What were you doing all weekend, Alan?
Same thing as you. We were baking cookies.
We baked cookies. How many heart-shaped cookies did we bake this
We
weekend?
baked 2,378 cookies.
Yeah, that's enough to make 1,200 sandwich cookies. So we're in pretty good shape for this week, I think.
But we only have 100 assembled, so.
We're going to be scrambling after the show, putting cookies together today. But right now, we have a great show for you today because we have our coffee roaster, Jamie Nichols, is with us. He's going to tell us all about the coffee that we serve here at Bay Village Coffee and a few other interesting stories. So, good morning, Jamie.
How's it going?
Welcome,
I feel
thank
really
you.
short now.
Thank you for getting up so early on a Monday morning, Jamie. It's so nice to see you this morning.
No problem. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, 3.5 years ago, we made a very important phone call. Alan and I were just in the process of getting Bay Village Coffee all up and ready to start, but we found ourselves without a great coffee.
3 days. 3 days.
3 days before opening. So, Alan, what do we do?
So we call up Jamie and we say, Jamie, we need some coffee. We're opening in 3 days. And we have no coffee. And so literally Jamie was there the very next morning with all of his coffees for us to test and to taste. And they were amazing. And the interesting thing about this coffee that we're serving is that Gary and I have been together for almost 20 years, and we've always had different tastes in coffee. So if we were ever out and went for coffee, we always had to go to 2 different chains, always. So just so we could both get the same coffee.
I won't say which chain was mine, but you can guess.
I think you would know. I think we would. Anyways, so we would always go to 2 different chains. So anyways, fast forward, here's Jamie with all of his coffees for us to taste. And Gary's like, I like this one. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And then I'd find one that I'd like. And then finally we find the Rwanda. And Gary's like, oh my God, that's good coffee. I could drink that. So I'm like, okay, let me try it. I was like, oh my God, that's good coffee. It was the first coffee in 20 years that we could both drink. And we both enjoy. And here we are 3 years later, still
drinking
loving the
it,
same
still
coffee.
loving it. So the Rwanda by Rosenkrantz is delicious. Can you tell us something about that coffee?
The Rwanda is actually very interesting because Rwanda is a really interesting place in the world. Everybody knows about sort of like the recent most Eastern history, the sort of bad history, but coffee's become a pretty big part of the way that Rwanda is trying to recover. So it's really investing into some of its agriculture and so on, and coffee is one of those big ones. This one comes from on the shore of Lake Kivu, and it is a co-op pack coffee. It's a super great rich coffee that you guys apparently love. It's one of our best sellers, of course, as well. So yeah, no, this particular co-op is really invested in its community, and it does a lot for its community. It goes back to its community. So the washing station it comes from is just super giving back to where it's from, which is something that both you guys engender and what we engender as well. So
That is really awesome.
Well, that's perfectly in line with both businesses.
Okay, Jamie, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What did you think of us when we first called you?
There's these 2 guys who know nothing about coffee.
yeah, it was a pretty interesting phone call. I thought maybe coffee should have been not about 3 days before you opened, but the truth is, when I first met you, the first thing that really struck out is the amount of energy that you guys have. You guys have an entrepreneurial strain. You guys basically rolled with every little problem that came. It's like, okay, this happened. Let's just make this change and go with it. And that's my first thought, is just like incredible amounts of energy. And I thought, there's a question mark. There was definitely a question mark. It's like, are they going to be able to make this? But they hit the ground running and never looked back. So it's been amazing.
We've been very, very fortunate.
Also popular here at Bay Village Coffee is our decaf. We have the best decaf in town, hands down.
We hear that all the time.
We hear it all the time. We brew it as an Americano. We just do it individually brewed every time. The decaf, it's amazing, and we use the Colombian coffee for that.
Yes.
It's delicious coffee. Can you tell us something about that coffee?
Sure. The decaf is actually a little bit interesting. It's something called an EA process, or a sugarcane process. So it's actually fermented in sugarcane juice. So it's considered a natural process, decaffeinated. And the nice thing about it is it decaffeinates the coffee. It leaves as much as the flavor as possible in the coffee. It is an expensive coffee, unfortunately, which means none of us are making a whole lot of money off of it. But the reality is that it's a very, very good coffee. It's rich coffee. You don't lose a lot of that flavor. You don't get that thinness that you usually get in a decaf. Super enjoyable. It is again one of our best sellers. Even we do a half calf called Taming of the Brew, and it's like it's dynamite for that. You can't even tell. In blind tasting, anecdotally in blind tasting, when we do tastings for people, 30% of the people prefer the decaf over everything else.
Wow.
So the caffeine it's not the deciding factor. So
It's a delicious decaf.
Well, we'll tell you, we have customers that come here just for the decaf.
Yeah.
They're not decaf drinkers, but they want that decaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
no,
love the
it's-
flavor of the coffee. It's amazing.
We love our Rwanda so much that that's the only coffee that we brew. That's our only brew. But we do have customers coming for specifically for the Colombian decaf.
Uh-huh.
So it's pretty good.
Right on, awesome. You know, so one of the best things we did is we hooked up with Jamie and Rosencrantz Coffee for Bay Village Coffee, hands down. And then together we've been able to do some really interesting things together.
Yes.
One of them is not last winter, the winter before, when we brewed up coffee for 1,000 teachers.
1,000 teachers on the street.
Teachers on strike, they needed coffee. It was cold too. It was a super cold day. And so Jamie donated all of the coffee. We brewed it all. And that was kind of our trade-off there. But you brewed some at the market too, remember? You were brewing
yeah.
it there, we were filling up
Cafe
Cambros
Motors
of coffee
was running us
all over
around all
town.
Yeah.
It was a crazy day. That was super awesome.
And actually, the very first time that I met Jamie, though, was a few years before this, when you were the executive director at Shelter House.
That is
Jamie was
right.
donating coffee that was, so it was older than you would want to sell, but it was still
yeah.
very good coffee. So he was donating that to Shelter House, and so...
Isn't
when
that nice? Our
Jamie
paths crossed
Yeah.
all those years ago. We didn't know, eh? Interesting.
Then a couple of years later,
1 degree of separation in Thunder Bay. 1 degree.
Here we all are now, eh?
yeah, one of the best business decisions we made, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's been challenging times for business right now, with all things going on. Jamie, you have survived very nicely through this pandemic. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done to survive?
Well, just like you guys, and I took my cue somewhat from you guys, is you had to pivot quickly. You had to basically come up with new ideas and new ways of going forward. You guys are one of my biggest clients, and suddenly you guys were closed even for a couple of days there, and made things very worrying for people like me, right? So I wasn't mandated to close, but all of my clients were. But in the end, you guys switched around to doing the car hop service, which turned out to be an amazing success, which then kept me going and sort of spurred me on to make some changes in my own business, and we switched to home delivery and subscription services, and that's basically kept us afloat for all this time. And again, working with you guys has been able to keep us going, and the synergy between all of these different small businesses has been incredible. So yeah.
It's really, really awesome.
And one of the key things for us as business owners is giving back to the community, and to work with another business that is so like-minded is really awesome.
It's really, really awesome. Excellent. Okay, right on. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for coming in today.
problem.
So awesome. What a great way to start the day, and what a great way to start the week. I think we're going to have a great week around here at Bay Village Coffee, for sure we are. We got tons of heart-shaped cookies. We're going to be spreading love all week as we ramp up for Valentine's Day. So,
And come by Bay Village, you can get the Rosencrantz coffee to take home and brew yourself.
absolutely. We have the retail coffee here as well. We have this complete line of coffees as well. So, awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, thank
Good
you
morning.
everyone. Have a great day. Bye.